Oh, hello. Can we please talk about UFC Vegas 50 coming our way on Saturday night? Anchor Live against Santos. Now, I don't think there's that much jeopardy in the main event. Well, there is some jeopardy because they're big guys and they can both swing. You know, Santos is pretty good. I'll get more into that later. But there are some sneakily good fights that have been popped onto this card. It is a strong card. So this is going to be a short one today because I don't feel well. But I'm going to get my picks in anyway because I'm committed to the cause. So let's get cracking with the UFC, with the Burt Locker Fights in 15 for UFC Vegas 50. Right, okay, as I said, this is a pretty strong card. You've got some good fights on it. Like Dalcha Lugiambala is fighting its Cody Brundage at 185 pounds. Now, Lugiambala, I do like him, but he just seems to not really have much of a gas tank. It wouldn't surprise me to see him drop another decision. Now, I'm not betting on that one right now because they haven't got the odds for the method up yet, but I would take Brundage by decision, honestly, because Lugiambala, he's too muscular for that weight class. He's too much of a unit. He just ends up gassing. And it's like, I wish he fought as monstrously as he looked. But yeah, maybe he'll get a massive smash knockout. You never know. But yeah, they've got loads of sneakily good fights on here. You know, Alex Caceres is on there against Yusuf something. Either way, he's probably a little bit up against it. You've got Marlon Mahias taking on Song Yadong. Again, another guy who's probably up against it. Song Yadong's pretty good, and Mahias hasn't looked good recently. Obviously, you've got Miranda Maverick as well. Big fan of Amanda Maverick. So, yeah, tuned into her fight. Again, she's a massive favourite, so I didn't really see the need to bet on her because, no, there's no fun in betting on massive favourites, is there? I don't know. I bet on massive favourites sometimes, but even the outcome that I thought would happen, like the decision, it's just such small odds that I'm like, well, there's no point really. So, the first one I'm looking at is Khalil Roundtree versus Carl Robertson. This one was taking place at light heavyweight, I believe. Roundtree, he's been up and down. When he first came back from Thailand, from kickboxing, he looked really good against Eric Anders, I think it was. Just put on an absolute clinic. And then he knocked out Gokhan Saki, which I had a bet on that day because I was like, no, Roundtree looks fantastic and Saki's going to stand with him. So yeah, he knocked his ass out. And he's a very, very dangerous striker. When he's confident, when he goes there with confidence and he's on form, he's just really, really dangerous. Very, very slick. Very good with the leg kicks. He mixes up the attacks really well. You know, leg, body, head. And if it stays standing, he can be very, very dangerous. Now, Robertson has never lost by KO, I don't think. So I do like Khalil Roundtree in this fight. I think Robertson is good, but I think he's going to get big brothered a little bit in this one. I think that Khalil Roundtree is going to go in there with some confidence, and when he lands the first few things and hits him and hurts him, I think he's going to then take over this fight. I don't know if he's necessarily going to put him away because the problem is, like I said, Robertson has never been finished. So I would say that he's not been knocked out. Sorry, he has been submitted, I think. But yeah, he's not been knocked out. Anyway, I think that Roundtree does look good to win this fight. I mean, he is a slight underdog coming in. Like, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't count Robertson out. This one is a bit of a toss-up. But I just think that looking at the form that Roundtree is on and looking at the form that Robertson is on, I think Robertson's coming off 2 losses, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so Roundtree finishes 2/3 of his fights by knockout and 1/3 of his fights by decision. So it is wins, sorry. Those are wins. So 2/3 of his wins are by way of knockout. Now, couple that with Robertson not being finished by knockout in his career, I would say the decision for Roundtree is probably a pretty decent bet, and you're getting 5.50 on that one, 9-2 in English, and that's a good that's Those are some good odds. I might put that on as a separate bet. That's not what's going on my accumulator though, because you're still getting 2.10. That's better than even money on the knockout or decision. So you get the double chance there. So that's the one that's going to go on my accumulator, because I feel like that's going to be the one. Joan, that's the much safer bet. But I would lean towards the decision in that one. So then we've got Mr. Alex Pejera. Against Bruno Silva, £185. Now, Alex Pejera, if you don't know, is the chap that I think he knocked out Israel Adesanya possibly twice in kickboxing. I know he beat him twice. I don't know if he knocked him out twice. He might have knocked him out twice. But either way, he's the guy that he's got a lot of hype behind him, because obviously he fought and beat in kickboxing the current middleweight champion, and that's not to be sniffed at. And honestly, Pejera, he's a heavy favourite here, and there's a reason for that. Because, I mean, look at the dude. Like Rogan said in his first fight, where he like just flatlined the dude with a vicious knee, just threw it effortlessly and knocked him out. And he does look like he's made out of wood. Like, that's how, like, he's so hard. Do you know what I mean? He just... And the thing is like when he came in his debut, it was only a couple of UFCs ago, UFC 268 possibly, but... Yeah, when you come in and flatline somebody like that, that was the kind of debut that Adesanya kind of... Because if I'm not mistaken, I think Israel Adesanya's first fight went to a decision in the UFC. I'm not 100% sure. Let me just double check that now on the fly. So, first UFC 221. No, it was a TKO. There, it was. Yeah, it was a TKO, because then he fought. Yeah, he had a good debut where he came in and got the TKO, but then he fought Marvin Vettori and Brad Tavares, and he got kind of held to a decision in both of those. And I'd say the difference in style is like Pejera, he seems to have like what I would call vicious knockout power, and it is vicious. He seems to just hit really hard. There's something like and it will be interesting to see how he gets on, because his opponent first time out did try and take him down and couldn't keep him there, so that'll be interesting. Now this one, he's fighting Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva, he is no joke. Honestly, he's come into the UFC, 4 fights, 4 knockouts. He is smashing people. I think 3 of them are in the first round. So Bruno, he fought in M1 as well. I think he won the middleweight belt in M1, and that's pretty good. And he is pretty good. The only thing that I think puts him up against it here is the size difference. I don't know if Bruno Silva is necessarily big enough for middleweight. He's only 6 foot. That's not massively tall for a middleweight. I mean, Pejera is 6'4". He's got like a 4 foot height advantage, and that translates to like quite a large reach advantage as well, 4 or 5 inches, I think. And the other problem I think that Bruno Silva has is he is relatively hittable. He kind of goes out like, he's quite prepared to get into a slugfest, because when he fought Jordan Wright hit him quite a lot, and actually was quite successful in that fight until Silva came back with a counter and just planted it out. It was brilliant. It really was a great finish. But I think that Pejera, he's going to have the reach and he's going to have the height, and I think that, and it's not like Bruno Silva is going to go after takedown and try and wear him out like that. I don't think that Pejera is going to have to consider the wrestling too much. I think this is going to be a kickboxing fight, because both of them like to kickbox. And the problem that Bruno Silva has is that he's up against a really high level kickboxer. I'm not saying that Bruno Silva is very high level in his own right. His kickboxing is fantastic, because you don't get 4 UFC wins by knockout by being shit at striking. Do you know what I mean? But there are levels. And Alex Pejera is also going to have the attributes as well. He's got the reach, he's got the size, and he's just a very imposing figure. When you see him, you'll understand what I'm saying. It's like he's made out of like steel cable. Like ridiculous. He's just so cut. He's so tough. And yeah, I don't see this going any other way. That part of me thinks that like Silva, he hasn't ever been knocked out in his career, but he was getting caught by Wright. I don't think it's necessarily it's impossible to knock him out. But I do think that maybe he's durable enough. Maybe he is good enough on his feet to possibly get to the second round. And you're looking at round 2, knockout for Pejera is currently +6. That is 5-1. That is just terrible enough for me to bang onto my bet slip. Lovely stuff. Loving that. Yeah, it's probably going to be a first round knockout, but I'm just hoping that Silva can get to the second round. Look, I might be completely wrong here. Look, Silva can bang. Silva can throw with the best of them. So it wouldn't. If you want an underdog on this card, like, let's be fair, Alex Pejera is relatively still untested in MMA. You know, Bruno Silva has 4 fights in the UFC and 4 wins. It's not outside the realms of possibility for him to knock Alex Pejera out here. If they get into a firefight and he throws, trust me, Bruno Silva hits hard. He hits plenty hard. So, look, that wouldn't surprise me. But for me, I think that the safer bet is Alex Pejera knockout round 2. Well, that's not a safe bet at all, because specifying the round is for idiots, because that's never going to happen the way you want it to. But either way, that is what I'm doing, because I'm not known for making sensible bets. These are terrible bets. So, yeah, Alex Pejera, round 2, knockout, +6. 5-1 in English. And then we've got Thiago Santos versus Magomed Ankalaev, or as I like to call him, Cousin Mose. Cousin Mose. See, Cousin Mose from the office, from the US office, and Magomed Ankalaev. Have you ever seen them in the same room at the same time? No, there's a good reason for that. Because they are the same guy, I'm telling you. Brilliant writer, great cage fighter, you know, it's good actor as well. He does it all. Anyway, yeah, for me, this one, obviously Ankalaev is coming in as quite a heavy favourite, as you can see, odds are up there. I think rightly so. I think that Thiago Santos has not looked particularly good since the John Jones fight, where after he had to have surgery on both knees, ACLs, I believe, on both went during that fight with John Jones. And since then, he's come back and he hasn't really looked particularly inspiring. He won a decision over Johnny Walker last time out, but so he's back in the win column at least. That takes some of the pressure off. But I just think Ankalaev, he is a beast. He is so good. And the difference here is that you've got tight striking versus wild striking. I'm not saying that Santos isn't a great technical striker, because he is. He really does. He sets up his strikes well. His combinations are very good, particularly the knockout of Jan Blachowicz, where he kind of caught him with a check left hook and then swung a big haymaker and, you know, knocked him on his ass. That was really, really good stuff. And the difference is that rather than being a wild haymaker, Ankalaev is very, very tight. He's very tight, and he's really, really effective. Like, you see how he kind of catches people. Like, when he fought Ion Cutelaba in the second fight, when Cutelaba was like, he started throwing before Ankalaev was throwing, right? But because he's throwing from down here, and you know what, Ion Cutelaba, he's the Hulk, he's a maniac, he's a wild man. He's throwing these big, very powerful punches, but they're telegraphed, right? So he's throwing these big punches, but Ankalaev, all he does is he looks at where the punch is coming from. He knows he's blocking there, and he's punching there, and there's no wind up. It's not like he goes back there. It's from there and bang, straight forwards. But he generates a lot of power doing that, and it's really and it's the precision that knocks people out as well. The fact that he gets them right on the end of the chin, and that's going to put you out. Do you know what I mean? And they're the ones that you don't necessarily think are coming, because you think, well, I'm throwing, so he can't get to me, but because it's not like he's very quick as well. He's very quick, but it's more the timing that allows him to get in there faster than his opponents, because he's much tighter and he's straight down the pipe with efficiency. And he also uses the sides of his hands as well. Like, I've noticed that, like, I think the cut when he fought Volkan Oezdemir, you see the punch that started the cut, that one went to a decision. But the punch that started the cut, it was like, he throws it a lot actually. You see him do it. He kind of hits him with like a kind of side, like a reverse hammer fist. I don't really know what to call it, but it's like that motion. And so he's going through, and he clocked Volkan Oezdemir like right in the eye, right there, and it busted his eyebrow like wide open. Khabib did a similar thing with the uppercut, like where he throws the uppercut kind of with the knuckles going up, like a backhand, almost like an uppercut backhand. But I've noticed that, yeah, they do that because it's a good strike, that, because like it can allow you to get in and bang and bring it there. And if you can catch somebody on the temple there, or like he did with the eye, it's a very, very effective strike. But he often uses that to set up his straight. So he'll catch him with that one, and then you've been caught there, so you're like, whoa, and then before you know it, you've got another straight coming right down the pipe that's a real bang, real weapon, right on the chin, straight out. So I think that's where this one is going, honestly. I do think that, like, Santos is a very good striker in his own right. Don't get me wrong, I've seen him knock people out. I would not be surprised to see him knock out Ankalaev. It's not like any of these guys are immune to being knocked out. It can happen, but I just feel like Santos is probably going to be slightly tentative. I think that this one will likely go into... My bet is going to be third round KO, TKO for Ankalaev. But I think the way that we're going to see it, what it's going to look like, is basically going to be Santos will be throwing, because he throws a little bit wild. It's not like he's a wild, reckless striker, but he does throw like bigger shots, bang, 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 bang. I think what we're going to see is that eventually Ankalaev is going to get that timed, and when you see him go and throw that big punch, Ankalaev, bang, is going to be precision straight down the pipe, and it's going to be one of those straight on the chin that's going to knock Santos down, get some ground and pound in. And I think that is going to be round number 3. And again, specifying the round is for idiots, and I am never claimed to be a smart man, so I am going to be putting money on round number 3 for Ankalaev. That is plus 13, that is 12 to 1 in English. That is an absolutely terrible bet, but this one should be a really good fight, and it's an interesting one for the landscape of the light heavyweight division. And putting all those together on the accumulator before my throat gives out on me. Sorry, COVID has me, brother. It has me. Yeah, so I'm going Roundtree, double chance decision or knockout. Sorry. Going for Pejera, round 2 knockout, then round 3 knockout for Magomed Ankalaev. Hashtag Cousin Mo's, hashtag terrible bets. That is 163.80. That's 163 to 1, roughly, in English. That is a terrible bet, but that is, yeah, you know, keep those odds, keep the stakes low and keep the odds long and keep the bets terrible. We'll review all these bets next week when I'm feeling a little bit better, hopefully. But yeah, enjoy the card. Best of luck.